Okay, so I'm gonna explain imperfective and perfective verbs. This is also known as the vid or aspect, and this is present in all Slavic languages. The reason for it, amongst other things, is that the verb tenses are simplified. So usually in English, Spanish, or many Western languages, there will be many types of future or types of past to really distinguish kind of different details that you're giving. But because this is not present in Slavic languages, so there's only past, present, and future, one of each, so there had to be another way to describe the passing of time. So that other way is imperfective and perfective verbs. They always come in pairings, but not necessarily a pairing of two. So basically, the way a lot of words in Slavic languages are structured is that you'll have the original word or the root, and then you'll be adding something in front of it. So there's a whole list of these kind of just little parts. They're usually used as conjunctions as well, but not always. And you can kind of add it to the word to give it a specific meaning. And sometimes the meaning is very similar and logical, and sometimes it's completely different and you have no way of knowing and just have to learn it. But in many ways, these little bits that you add in front are, they kind of show the way that the speaker is thinking about the language. It shows an aspect of the culture because it's showing you what associations the person is making with that specific action. In this case, action, because we're talking about verbs. So verbs are, there's like transitive and transitive, but generally it's the action of the sentence. So we're going to start with imperfective. Imperfective is, what's important is to note the im, like without. It's a lack of perfective. The reason why I'm starting with it is because in my mind it's logical, because imperfective is ongoing and perfective is sudden, in one moment, right? It's the završit, it's like to complete an action. Imperfective is ongoing, so that to me is the logical thing to start with, because before something can be complete, it has to start and be ongoing. So everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end. There cannot just be an end without the beginning. So that's why I'm starting with imperfective. So imperfective, what this is showing you, so let's try imperfective present. I'm just going to give you a verb, the verb to do. So dělat is the verb which means to do. And this verb, as I said, will have many different variations. But this is the root, this is the original word, and this is imperfective. So dělat means kind of an ongoing doing. So let's look at how this verb looks in the past, present, and future. So I'm just going to conjugate for myself. I, first person. So I, já dělám. So this is what it looks like in present. What does it mean, já dělám něco? It means that I'm currently doing it. You call me and you ask me, Anna, what are you doing? You use imperfective because you don't know what it is I'm doing. It's vague, it's ongoing. And I say, já dělám domácí úkoly. I'm doing my homework. This means that as I'm on the phone right now, I'm in the process of doing my homework. I started it, and I'm currently working on it, and I intend to keep working on it, but I have not yet finished doing my homework. Let's look at what it would look like in the past. In the past, and I'm going to conjugate this as myself again, so feminine. In the past is the only one of the three tenses which shows gender. So the past shows that you are either female, male, or neuter. Neuter does not mean neutral. Neuter means object. So you cannot be neuter and be alive unless you are referring to a noun which is neuter and happens to refer to a person. So each word, each noun has its gender. But if you are talking simply with pronouns, then you must be either male or female, grammatically speaking. So I would be female, and that's why I'll put it in feminine. So já jsem dělala. So this means jsem dělala něco. It means that there's various scenarios you could use this, but the primary scenario, it simply means that at some point in the past I was in the action of doing it. It's like you take dělám, the ongoing, and you just put it in the past. So it means that at some point I started doing it, and at some point I was in the process of doing it. But the ending is undetermined. So it could be that I had actually finished it, but you would have to specify that in the sentence, otherwise it would be implied that you haven't finished. Another way to think about it is if you are doing it multiple times. So let's say you do it seasonally every year. If you say, or every week, if you're doing it on a regular basis, then you will use imperfective, because it's possible that you will do it again, because it's a sequence of actions that are repetitive. So this basically means you started it, but most certainly you could pick it back up. Right? The current state of whatever it is you were doing is undetermined. You just know that at some point you were doing it. So in the future, what we have is a compound verb. So what is a compound verb? It means you have the helping verb and the kind of participle type thing. It's like you have kind of a certain conjugated form that you will use consistently. So for us, we use the verb to be, beat, which is this. We have this verb conjugated for your person, first person, second person, third person, or whatever else. So you conjugate this as if it was present tense, and then you add the kind of you just add the infinitive to this. So the first person, I, for beat, to be, is já jsem. So if you want to put future for imperfective, you write já jsem my bad. So actually you have to conjugate it for future. So it's still the verb beat, but it's not present tense, it's future. So budu. Budu is just the future tense of the verb to be. So já budu, and then you just put the infinitive here, já budu dělat. So what does this mean? Já budu dělat means I will be doing. You, in no way, again, you are in no way implying that you will finish whatever it is that you are working on. You're saying, I intend to start on this. I intend to do this in the future. Just kind of vaguely with time. So now let's look at the perfective version of the same verb. And again, there are many versions, right? But the one we will be working with is udělat. Udělat means to do. but it means to complete the doing. So let me give you an example of another version of this word, which is also just a modification. And that would be předělat. So předělat means to redo. And again, there's a bunch of different things you can add in front of here. Podělat, přidělat, and so on, to make different verbs. But we will really only be working with udělat because this is almost the exact meaning, the exact same meaning. The only difference is that it's completed, or it is perfective. So perfective means it is completed. So let's look at the present tense. Actually, no. We're going to start with future. Well, no. Okay, so the thing about perfective is it doesn't quite work the way you would expect. Basically, what you are doing, we will call it present, but it is in fact future. So we're going to conjugate it exactly as we had conjugated it up here. Udělám, right? So, já udělám, and as you can see again, this is the same conjugation here as it is here. Dělám, udělám. All I did was add a little bit at the beginning. This is present, but it's not so simple. Because if you are talking about a completed action, you cannot put a completed action in the present. So completed means, let me try and help you visualize this. Completed means it was happening, right? And then in one moment it was finished, and then it is done. So if you look at it this way, there is only two places you can be. So this is the moment, the instance, the unmeasurable just moment when it's finished. You can either be unfinished or you can be finished, right? There's only two options. You cannot be in between. So that's why there is no actual present tense. You can only be unfinished or finished. When you conjugate it in present tense, what you are actually is unfinished. So what you are saying is you have the intention of finishing it. Já udělám. So it means if you call me and you say, Anna, what are you doing? And I say, já udělám moje domácí úkoly. I'm saying, I have the intention of doing my homework. But I have not yet done my homework. I have not told you if I've started my homework, what I'm doing right now at all. All I've told you is I have not yet finished my homework, but I have the intention of finishing it. So what I'm telling you is I'm here in this process, right? I'm before the finishing point, and I'm looking forward to that finishing point, that exists. So udělám, again, is conjugated as present because what is present is your intention to finish. But realistically, it's future because what you're saying is that you will finish it in the future. You currently have the intention to finish it in the future. Then you have past. Udělala. Again, it's the exact same conjugation. The only difference is that I add the u. Udělala means I finished it. So again, we are looking at here you started it in the past, but it is unknown whether you have finished it. It just means it was ongoing in the past. In this case here, it was done, and it was done once. So you cannot say every week I finished the action, because if it's every week, then it's ongoing. You use this. Even if you finished it every time that you started it, what you're describing is an ongoing process of you doing it every week. Udělala means you started it, you were doing it, and then you finished. So it's finished, it's over, it's done. And this compound form does not exist in the future, as I explained. There is the present and future kind of merge here, because you can either be on one side or the other. So I hope this is helpful. Do keep in mind that in general, when you take the verb, the original verb, it will usually be imperfective, and if you add something in front of it, the effect is usually that it will become perfective. However, do not use this to guide yourself, because it is not always the case. It's just a rule, but the rules break. So just because it is generally that way doesn't mean that it's always that way. But it is something to help you kind of guess if you're not sure. And again, if you see this version, it's always imperfective. So I hope this is helpful. Yeah, and let me know if you have any questions.